Okay, you guys are in here until 12:01. Just so you're aware of that, 12:01, that's the time when we're in here until. Then the rest of the day is basically a normal schedule, 6, 7, 8, 9, but it's about 5 minutes off each class. So you can kind of see the times when you're out of each one. I'll leave that up there. Okay, perfect.
Where I sit.
Same side. Okay, all right. Anything else? Still missing the others. Okay. All right, so we're going to take a few notes here today. We're going to do a couple examples of what your homework's going to look like. You do get homework today. It will be due on Friday. So make sure that you have everything ready to go. You'll need some form of a textbook, online or physical book. Remember, on Friday, we have a book check. I check your book number and your cover. So we're going to do that on Friday. That'll be the first one of the year. Have a book cover on that book. I think most of you have a cover on the book already, correct? They already came with one. If you tear it off because you think it's gross or you just want a new one, that's fine, but you better have one that's attached. It better not fall off when you hold on to it. So it's got to be permanently attached to it. Or not permanently, but affixed to it so it stays on. So, all right, for those who walked in late, let's make sure we get back here a little bit on time. It was already 5 minutes ago we should have started class. So, all right. So, today we're going to do a few notes. We're going to get to what our assignment is today. You can actually see the assignments over there. You guys are the bottom one on the board. So that's where Algebra homework assignment will be. It's page 7. And that's the assignment we're going to get. So it's just up there right when you walk in. That'll stay up there on the board until Friday because that's the due date. And then I'll erase it and we'll probably have something new by that point. So tonight you'll probably get a warning. I think I already sent out Google Classroom message last night saying that, hey, we got an assignment this week. Its book covers are due on Friday. And also tonight, that page 7 will go out saying that, hey, page 7's due. It's due by Friday. I'm betting on if you get time today to work on it in class, which we should get about 15 minutes, most of you will probably get it done. It's not very big. It's 4 through 9, 19 through 28. It's all based on the same type, but we got to talk about that stuff today. Question?
If you finish it today, in the class, can you
turn it in? Yeah. So it goes in this basket right here, or goes in the back basket back there. One of the two. So that's where I want it. Now, if you're working on it during study hall and you come in here and turn it in, here's the things I need to see on your paper so I know what class you guys are in. Because if you turn in during 7th period during the day, and I don't even notice you because I'm lecturing, I need to know. So here's the thing. You need to have your full name at the top. You need to have the date on it. You need to have what period you guys are in. So, period 5. And then you need to have the page numbers. So page 7, blah, 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 blah. You guys get the idea. I need to see that on the top of your page. Anywhere at the top, but it's got to be at the top somewhere. I don't care where. Those are the major things I need to see. That way, if you turn in randomly during the day, maybe you have a study hall, or you have, whatever you have, maybe you have another class you can just to get some free work time. That is how I want to see the top of your assignment. Then you can do all your work down here. Okay. There's not much on this first assignment for work. It's literally just read the sentence that is provided to you in the textbook, and you're giving me the algebraic form. We're going to talk about that today. Questions with what your homework assignment needs to look like. Perfect. Let's talk about the actual assignment now. So the assignment, this is our first book assignment of the year. Remember, I switch it up. Sometimes we do worksheets, sometimes we do book, sometimes I do a Google form, and you just have to fill it out. Okay. So this first one is a book assignment. Here's how it's going to look. That's what your homework is going to look like. The first thing. They are verbal expressions. A verbal expression is something that's written out in word form. It's not an equation, it's just an expression of some type. If there's an equation, it'll have an is in this sentence somewhere. So it'll be twice a number is 8 instead of plus 8. Is an equal sign. So there's little things we need to learn. Today, the goal is to learn about all the different keywords so that we can turn this sentence, that verbal statement, into this. That's what I want to see. You're not simplifying, you're not doing any math, you're not solving for n, or whatever variable you choose. You are just getting down to this point. We did some of these yesterday. That was a little challenge question I threw out for yesterday. I think we had 5 of those that you had to submit on Google Classroom. If you have not submitted that, maybe you didn't add that Google Classroom or you didn't get it submitted, you were gone yesterday. That needs to be turned in. That is an actual participation assignment. If you don't turn it in, you get points off, and now you're failing the first week at Algebra 1. Get it turned in. So, That was the stuff we did yesterday. The goal today is to learn how to do this more efficiently. There are certain things we have to talk about: squares, cubes. We have to talk about, those keywords for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those are the things I want to do. That's the things I'm going to have you in your groups help me with today. So here's what I'd like you to do. We have 5 pods in the room. 5 pods. Okay, so those are my 5 groups in this room, 5 pods. I'm going to assign your group a certain operation in mathematics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And you have to come up with keywords that could represent that in a word sentence. It could be just a few. Maybe you have only 1 or 2 words you guys that your collective group can think of. We're going to share those aloud, and then we're going to see if any other groups can add to your list. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to take about 5 minutes here. So, group 1, you guys are this. I want all the words that you can do for addition. Any word you can think of that means addition. So don't say them out loud. Let's make a list. Put them in your notebook, put them somewhere. Just so we have a collective list, help each other talk it over. Subtraction. Come up with a list of any of the keywords that mean subtraction. Come up with a list, put it in your notebook. We'll share them out here in a minute. Have active conversations. Multiplication. Wait, you guys are over there. Multiplication. Okay, any words that can mean multiplying. Okay, division. Anything that can mean division. Okay, for keywords. Any other keyword that may not mean any of these specifically. It could be fractions. It could be powers like square, cube, that type of stuff. Got it? Could be the keywords for an equality symbol, like an equal sign, that type of stuff. Okay? All right. Take about, a little bit less than 5 minutes. Let's go about 3 minutes. It's probably not a big, extensive list. There's a few though, and we're going to share them out, and then we're going to make the whole list. We're going to put it in your notebook. Then we're going to go through a couple examples. Okay. Have I given your group enough time? Does anyone need more time? Maybe you're thinking of extra words. Doesn't need to be a very big, extensive list. We just need to come up with a few. Because I can think of some off the top of my head. So we're going to share these out. I'm going to type them on the list. Now, once the group exhausts their list, we're going to go around the room. And if anyone can think of anything else, because I know for some of these, there's quite a few. quite a few words, especially that extra group. Sorry, you guys are kind of, it's very open-ended. There could be an infinite number of things you guys can come up with. So, okay, now, let's start with the first group, addition. So, Renner, what do you guys group come up with? Any volunteer, doesn't have to be Mr. Renner, but it can be any of your group.
Plus.
Plus, that's a good one, right? Simple word, probably the most common word for addition, right? 6 plus 7. You guys know that it's addition. That's good. Another one, please.
Add.
Add. Added 2. Yeah, I would probably put these in your notebook somewhere. Make a list in your personal notes, because obviously you have your list already, but let's add this as a new list somewhere in your notebook. You guys are on a roll, keep going.
Sum of.
Sum of, that's a good one. That's probably the most common one for your textbook. The sum of 2 items, right? You're adding 2 things together. That's good, keep going. You guys are on a roll.
More than.
More than, that's a special one. Anytime you see more than, you can switch things around. The items can switch places, but you're still adding, so it doesn't actually matter. Keep going, you guys are on a roll. You guys got any more? Well, that's a good list, though. That was impressive. Any others? Maybe your group can think of some others for addition. I can think of a couple. Increased by. Boom. Increased by. Total. Ooh, not total, but total. We have added to, increased by, more than, and plus. That's a pretty good list. Probably think of more later. That was good. So, any others that we can think of for addition? Those are just ones off the top of my head I can think of. Okay, let's move on. Subtraction, our middle group here. What do you guys come up with?
Minus.
Minus, that's a good one.
Less than.
Less than. Now that's a special one. That one, in fact, I'm going to put a star next to that one. Anytime you see the word less than, it does mean subtraction, but you have to switch the items around. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example here. Right? Let me give you an example. 8 less than x. Right? If you see that written, 8 less than x, this is the way it needs to be written. The x and 8 have to switch, even though it's still subtraction. You're going 8 less than whatever x is. You're subtracting 8 off. That's a special one. That's why I put a little star next to it. If you need to have that little example off to the side, it's one of those rarities. There's another one that we'll do here in a minute. Okay? That was good. Keep going. You guys are on a roll.
Take away.
Take away. Ooh, I didn't even think of that one. Take away. If I could spell it right. Keep going.
Decrease.
Decreased. Decreased by. That's good. Keep going. No more. Any others? I can think of a couple. Subtracted from. In fact, I'm going to put a little star next to that one. Subtracted from is just like the word less than. 8 subtracted from x. So that's a that's another one. Difference. Find the difference. The difference of. The difference between. Those are just 2 off the top of my head. Any others you guys can think of for subtraction? That was a pretty good list, though. Okay. That's a pretty good list. I don't know if we can go too many more. Well, let me get rid of that x minus 8 here. Again, anytime you see these all mean subtraction. That was good. Thank you for that second group here. All right, let's go to the multiplication group. It's my group over here. What do you guys come up with?
Product of.
Product of, probably the most common one.
Times.
Times. Any others?
No.
Okay, we exhausted the list. Any others you guys can think of?
Multiply by.
Ooh, that's good. That's one I was waiting for. Multiply by. Product of is probably the most common. That's probably the most common mistake people make. Product means to multiply. A lot of people think adding or anything like that means multiply. That's pretty good. There's specific examples that will probably come when we get to this other group, the extra group, probably thinking of a couple, possibly. Maybe, hopefully. Any others we can think of? That was good. Not a very big list. Doesn't need it, there's not too much for multiplying. Okay. Let's go to the division group. That's my far group over there.
Divide.
Divided, yeah. Let's see, where did I put it? There we go. Yeah, divide. Divided by or divide the two numbers.
Quotient.
Quotient, there's a good one. Quotient of. Quotient of, that's the most common one. That's good. Any others? A pretty good list. There's not really much there. There's some special cases. We'll get to that when we maybe get to the extra group, if they come up with any of those. But yeah, the list gets smaller as we go. So that's fine. Very nicely done. Those are the two that I was waiting for. So, all right, that was good. Any others? Sorry. Does anyone else have a different one for division? Okay, maybe we'll come back. All right, extra group. I know this is a tough category because they have very open-ended. I mean, there could be a lot for this extra category, or maybe you're just kind of stuck. I don't know. What do you guys come up with?
Square.
Square. There's a good one.
Cube.
Cube
Is.
that's an equal sign, right?
Divided by. Or no, it is the same as.
Is the same as.
Equal to.
Equal to.
To the power of.
To the power of. Ooh, that's a good one. Hold on, I can't erase that. Fingers on the wrong keys. To the power of. Any others?
And then we have less than, but there's something.
Yeah, less than, yeah. You're probably thinking of like the less than symbol, like less than or equal to. That's good. Any more on that list? That's a pretty good list, actually. Okay, that was good. That was a good list. So in fact, you guys thought of some that I didn't even think about. Okay, now, I kind of alluded to this extra group. They have an open-endedness to them. Like with the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, there's only so many words you can use that mean the same thing. The problem is the extra group, they can come up with very specific examples of some stuff that you guys were thinking of. Like for instance, one thing I was thinking of for the group with multiplication, right? What I was waiting for is maybe the extra group to say twice a number. That's a very specific type of multiplying. It's an extra, twice a number, right? Or triple a number, right? That's a very specific type of multiplication. Now, for division, if I go to the division category, a very specific type of division, I was thinking of like half a number or a third of a number. It's very specific. You're dividing by 3, you're dividing by 2. But I could also see it as multiplying. You're multiplying by half or multiplying by 1/3 like as a fraction. So I can see it either way. But it's very, very, very specific. Oh, these are good lists. So these are things we got to think about. It's been a long time. Think about probably how long has it been since you guys have had to do this type of stuff. I'm thinking like Algebra 1, that's probably like beginning of the year Algebra 1. It's probably like more than almost a year ago for most of us in here. It's been a while that you have to think about these keywords. These are the things that are in our homework today. So I'm trying to give you like kind of an exhaustive list. It's not everything, but it's going to cover everything we need, right? Because remember, the goal in our assignment is we're going to be given these verbal expressions, something unique that we have to come up with an algebraic form for it. And the way they write it can mean a huge difference if they use commas versus if they don't. Those are things we need to discuss here. So I'm going to do a couple more examples. I want to do maybe 2 or 3 more examples of this, give you some notes that you can put in your notebook. And then I'm going to turn you loose in homework. And then maybe tomorrow I'll go through a couple freebies with you. I'm going to go through this, the page 7. I'll pick out a couple, or maybe you have a couple that you're like, Ward, I don't know what this one's even asking. We'll go through a couple of those tomorrow together. Because I think it's important. It's your first assignment of the year. I don't want to just turn you loose and hope for the best. I want to at least give you a little bit of confidence, give you a couple freebies that's kind of nice that you know if you're doing it right or wrong. But let's go through some examples here. So this is just one. If you don't have this written down, it won't hurt my feelings. Let's get to some more. Let's do some examples here. All right, that's a terrible eraser. All right. Okay. New one. Here we go. The sum of 10 and twice a number y. Let's just start with something easy. We'll work our way to more difficult ones. I know this seems very similar to the last ones we just did. All right, so let's talk about the keywords here. Because I know some of you are still writing, that's fine. Keywords, let's point them out. What do we got?
Sum of.
Sum of, what does it mean?
Add.
Add, that's a part of your add group. So we know we're adding two things together. What are we adding?
10 and
10 and that thing. The word and separates the two things you're adding. So 10, obviously, 10. But what's twice the number y? 2y. Now, I don't care if you write 2y, if you put a dot between it, if you put parentheses around it. The big thing about reading the sum of and the word and, whatever's before the word and after the word and, those are the two things you're adding. They could be the most complicated things in the world. You have to separate them. 10 and twice a number. If they tell you a very specific variable, you have to use the variable they use. Sometimes it's in air quotes, sometimes it's not. So you got to kind of figure that out. I like using air quotes. So if you see that on a test, I'm telling you the variable you have to use. You can't just make up your own. If they just say twice a number, you get to make whatever variable you like. I just stick with like generic ones. You know, M, W's, Y's. Something easy that doesn't look like a letter, or look like a number, I should say. Okay, questions with the easy concept. All right, let's get to something a little more difficult now. This is too generic, too easy. Let's get rid of that stuff. All right, next one. Run out of space. Oh, just made it. Okay. Okay, I'll say it out loud as you guys are kind of writing it. 3 times the difference of 3 and a number cubed.
what's a cube?
Okay, cubed, power of 3. I tried to use 3's in the whole sentence. 3 times the difference of 3 and a number cubed. That means to the power of 3. Cubed is power of 3, squared is a power of 2. When they say squared, it's how many dimensions? Like length and width, that's 2-dimensional, that's square. Cube has 3-dimensional, so it has 3 per power. Anything higher than like a power of 3, they just say to the power of 4, power of 5, or to the 5th power, to the 7th power, something like that. Okay, so let's talk about this. Keywords, what are they? Difference of, right? That's one of them. What's another one? Times. There's another one. And? Cube. Those are probably the most keywords that we have. No commas. So that's a big thing. But we still have a difference of 2 things. What does difference of mean?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. What are the 2 things we're subtracting? 3 and a number cubed. A number cubed, right? I'll pick X for my number. Notice I put it in parentheses. I just did that because those are the things I'm finding the difference of. It's 3 times this difference, and the difference of the 2 things that I'm finding the difference of is 3 in that number cubed. Now, where does that 3 times need to go? Out front. I'm taking 3 times whatever the difference of these 2 things are. That's a big deal. When you see like difference of, sum of, quotient of, product of, whatever that difference, quotient, sum of, whatever those things are, those better be in parentheses if you're doing something to the outside of it. Like I'm tripling it, right? 3 times that. how could I change this? Well, if I put a comma back here, if I put a comma between like a number and cubed, everything is cubed. The whole thing is cubed. That's a difference. That's a major change because they're saying everything is cubed. So by leaving out the comma, just the number was cubed. So x. Little weird things like that. Questions with the setup on that one? If that makes sense, you can kind of follow linearly like what we're doing here. Okay, one more. Let's do one more. So I said I want to give you about 15 minutes to work. Need a towel. Okay. 7 less than 1/2 a number. Seven less than 1/2 a number. Doesn't look like much. This one's kind of tough. You got a lot of keywords here. What are they? Let's point them out. Say it again? Less than. Other one. Half. Doesn't look that much. You gotta know what that means. Now, less than.
Goes backwards.
Goes backwards. That's a big thing. I think I had a star next to this one in your little notes, and I also had one next to like subtracted from. They do the same thing. So what happens on less than, this 7 is going to the back, because remember less than means subtraction, right? And then this 1/2 a number needs to go out front. Now what is 1/2 a number?
Undivided by.
Say it again?
Undivided by a number.
Yeah, you're dividing. What are we dividing by? 2. Half is 2. So we're taking half a number, or you can have a number divided by 2, like I heard. Cutting a number in half. I prefer a fraction as opposed to going like n divided by 2, where you write it like with that little like semicolon kind of thing. Like that, the colon method. I don't want that. That's ugly. I prefer that when you see like 1/2, you write it like this. I like fractions. We're gonna learn those throughout the year. I'll make you better at fractions. You don't have to question. All right, does that make sense? I'm trying to kind of break down just little things. I didn't assign a lot of problems, but I did assign a few. Now, the good news is your textbook has the odds in the back of the book. So you have your physical book. You can look at the odds in the back to see if you're kind of doing it right. I'm going to give you a couple freebies tomorrow. So we will go through a couple of these because I don't want to just leave you hanging. That's just not the correct way to do it. So I think today is kind of a nice thing. So take about 10 minutes here. You can start your page 7. You have page 7, 4 through 9, 19 through 28, it's the part at the bottom. This assignment is due Friday. Now, as I said, I'm giving you 10 minutes today. I'm going to give you right away in the start of class tomorrow. I'll give you about 10, 15 minutes tomorrow to work because we're going to go through a couple of freebies tomorrow. Just make sure you are well aware of what we're doing, how to do it. If you have questions, I would just suggest like look it over tonight. Maybe you don't finish it all the way, but at least take a look at it. So when you get to one today, you're like, I read number 21 and I have no idea what 21's asking. That's a great question for tomorrow. We can go through it together because I'm sure that you're not the only one that has a question on it. And don't be afraid. You can tell me, you can tell me before class, or you can email me and I'll be like, hey, this is a question I had somebody ask me, and I can throw it up there in the middle of class. So, all right, questions, comments, concerns about anything we talked about today? That's all I got. Now we're out of here at 12:01 if you're that person that likes to watch the clock. Yeah, sorry, it's really hot. I know it's really hot. Homework, this assignment is due Friday, so you have a couple days. It's a shorter turnaround than normal, but I think we're going to work on it a little bit today. We'll work on it a little bit tomorrow. We'll be fine. What do you got?
For to get on the online book,
Yes.
what was our username again?
It's first dot last name 17, and then your username is cards123 with a capital C for cards. It's not, hey, Good question. It's not P7 in your book. It's literally just the number 7 for page 7. Not a P7. Yep. Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize it was a prerequisite stuff. Sorry, I had to turn that alarm off. That was from last year. I gotta change that. Delete that one. Again, if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. Throw it out there. Somebody's probably got the same question you do. Remember, 4 through 9, 19 through 28, page 7. Remember, at the top of your page, you better have your full name, first, last name. Got to have the date, what period number you are, and then the page numbers and all that. What do you got?
I can't. I don't think I'm typing in. What was it again?
Okay, first, like first name, whole name.
Oh.
Dot, last name. Can't be any abbreviation, so it's going to be your first name. Dot, your last name, full name. And then 17, like the number 17 on 7.
How do I
And then
remember
cards 1, 2, 3. I think you can type it. So if you opened up the book, you can type in what page you want to visit. So in the book, yeah. And then I think you can type in, there's like a little box, you can type in what page you want to go to. Just type
Can we
in.
just put the answer?
Yeah, no, just put the answer. Hey, good question. Allie asked, hey, can we just put the answer? Yeah, just put the answer. If there's things like, if there's like any work to be done later on, obviously this side there's no work to be done. But if there's like something like where you have to solve for X or solve for Y, I'll tell you like, hey, you got to show your work. This one, there's no work to be shown. You're just giving me the formula. Take that word sentence, give me what the algebraic form is, like what we're doing up here. What do you got there, Mr. Brenner? What do you got?
I don't know where to go.
Oh, right there. You're right on. Yeah. First name, dot, last name, 17, and then cards 1, 2, 3 for your password. Capital C for cards. Yeah. Remember, in fact, let me put a little magnet on there. You guys have that bottom rung down there. So 4 through 9, 19 through 28. You're the bottom rung down here. This is your assignment right there.
I did on the top.
What do you got? Sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm like,
You're 4 through 9. Full blown head.
It's of the times.
Oh, was there for like a half a second? There it is. You just scroll down to her. That's fine. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't know what.
do I have to adjourn?
It went right there.
Where do I do the books?
Yeah.
It was right. It did, not when you did.
It's the 8th one, right?
Yeah.
You good? All right. Remember, ask the way. I don't mind. No questions off limits. As long as it's appropriate.
Those the answers.
No. Simple answer. No. All right. Yeah. Yep. Number T. Yep. Yeah. So sometimes they like specify the letters you have to use, like a number T. Just use T. Just use the letters they want. Please. Which one? Yeah. No. Quotient is division. So going 1 minus, and then the two things are divided by 6.
Four.
Okay, and then, well,
Wait, is it less than that? No, you're good. You're good.
for 2/5.
Yeah. 2 fifths, so 2 and then 5 on the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, but then, okay.
Yeah, I'll mean multiply. And then the square of the numbers, so you're going to square the whole number. Yeah.
More than make it switch or?
No, you can just say, because addition doesn't have the way you flip it. You got it.
So it has to be less than to make it flip, right?
Yep, less than that flip. Yep, yes. All right, what do we got?
For 6, would it be 11 times, or does it just be?
Nope, just put the dot down.
Would we have to flip this? Because
Is it
doesn't say
less
that.
than? No. Yep.
is this where I'm supposed to be at?
I think you're on P7. We gotta go to just 7. 7. That's the page. Hold on, I'll do that. What do we got? Number 8.
We got to do all.
So 2/5, so that's a fraction like 2/5. And then you're gonna take it times the j squared. Yep. Yep. Good question. Good question. What do we got?
7 is 1 minus the quotient of our 7.
Yep.
It's like,
So 1 minus. Yeah. Yeah, 1 minus. The other part is. I mean, I'll take that. No, so
It's just
2/5.
square.
Yeah, j squared. Yeah.
And,
Of means multiplying. Yeah, hey, good question. The word of, if it's just like the word of, like 2/5 of a number, that means multiplying. When it's by itself, just the word of by itself means multiplying. So, what do we got? 1 minus, and then r divided by, yeah, perfect.
we'll just do our 1
Yep.
minus r divided.
Yep, that's it. Exactly right. Guys getting this figured out pretty good. Yeah, hey, when you're done, if you get finished, done, complete, however you like to say it, make sure everything's on the top. Page, date, period number, page numbers. You can put it in the front or back basket, and if you want to work on it tomorrow, that's fine. I'll hand it back to you if you need to make corrections, because obviously we're going to go through a couple of freebies tomorrow. I'm going to hand it back to you to make sure you get to correct anything.
Never mind.
What?
Did you finish?
Yeah. Sorry.
You have another one?
Oh, we
You only have one.
actually. What do you got? 2 bits. Okay. Boom. X. Or J or whatever it is. I think it's J. And then you got a square J. Okay. Power 2. That's it. Okay, done. Yeah. The word of by itself just means multiply. Just like yeah. Yep.
Wait, so you said for the bottom, you just wanted to.
Yeah. Just a fraction. Yeah. I don't like the colon thing. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Can I put that like dash?
Yeah. Dash. That's fine. Yeah. Same thing. Yep. Yep.
So what?
And then the third.
And,
These? No, I'm just sure.
What else? It's so many.
It runs out in one class period.
Well, how much is the battery cost? That's it.